Good day, my listeners. You're listening to Independent TV 7. I want you to meet three popular Nigerian pastors who have global ministries but don't own private jets. The debate over popular Nigerian tele-evangelists owning private jets has lingered for a while. Several pastors have either argued for or against the necessity of such luxury for the propagation of the gospel. Mind you, when it comes to traveling around the world, multiple effects is achieved in a week to preach the gospel. One can't do that through the use of vehicles but with private jets or plane. This has been the most cogent reasons the few Nigerian pastors who own jets have cited. Whether or not you own a jet, flying in one is not optional but a necessity. Some of the jets often used are either hired or donated by philanthropies for the propagation of the gospel. But the question many would like to ask is this: how do pastors who don't own a private jet but have a global audience oversee all necessary activities? That's the question. In my opinion, such an experience must be painstaking and may have help in the form of selfless service from their members. Pastor Paul Enenche once asserted that at one point after a crusade he and his team held at Jalingo in Taraba State, they needed jets to fly back to Abuja that night to meet up with the Sunday service the next day. And to their surprise, three persons lent them their jets. In my opinion, owning a jet isn't out of scriptural context, but like the Bible said, let all things be done in moderation, which is 1 Corinthians 14:40. In this article, we will be taking a look at three popular tele-evangelists who don't own private jets but run global ministry. Number one is Pastor David Ibiyomi from Salvation Ministries. The name Salvation Ministries have been a household name in the last decade in Nigeria. The church, which was founded by Pastor David Ibiyomi in April 1997 in Port Harcourt, became popular for its multiple telecasted Sunday services. Sunday Service 7. The founder, Pastor Ibiyomi, in one of his recent sermons stated that he doesn't own a jet and refuting popular claims that he is one of Nigeria's mega pastors who own jets. Number 2, Pastor Paul Enenche of Dunamis International Gospel Center. Dr. Paul Enenche is a former Nigerian medical doctor turned televangelist. He founded Dunamis International Gospel Center in Abuja in 1996. He is one of Nigeria's most influential preachers who hold crusades across major cities in Nigeria annually. He is one of the popular clergies who has a global audience but has yet to acquire a jet for evangelical missions. At one point, he refuted a viral claim that his ministry had acquired a jet, asserting that those claims were false. Number 3, Pastor Kumuyi, Deeper Life Church, called Deeper Life Bible Church. Pastor W.F. Kumuyi is one of Nigeria's oldest televangelists. He is often referred to as Father of Faith, earning him the name Daddy Kumuyi, implying that he is a mentor to many Nigerian pastors like Pastor Enenche, Pastor Bakari, and many more, who were once members of his church and household at one point. Well, Deeper Life, as it is popularly called, was founded by Pastor Kumuyi in the year 1973 in Lagos State. Pastor Kumuyi at one point and time was quoted saying he wouldn't buy a private jet because there were better ways of spending such money, since it would be parked most of the time and would incur a high maintenance fee. Well, from this article, we would like to hear your thoughts and what do you think about owning a private jet? And meanwhile, is buying of private jets from the pastor's pocket or pastor's salary? Who is paying the pastor's salary? From whose pocket is the jet coming, or the maintenance coming from? Is it the taxpayers' money? Because the taxpayers' money in church is the tithe and offering those church members pay to the church, not to the pastor. And if you say it's a private jet, because the gospel is not a private business, because God says go into the world and preach the gospel. and meanwhile it's going to the world is public, so it should be a public jet, not a private jet. But it has been said that Pastor what's it called, Bishop Oyedepo, Pastor Adeboye own private jets. So I don't know how your thoughts is going to look like, but in other words and in a nutshell, let's read few comments from people that are not too convinced about owning a private jet and their opinion. Well, according to Coxon, it says, which one of these ministers of the gospel on the first day of the administration of the gospel started with a private jet, yet God remained faithful to his name? Before the advent of automobiles, the gospel of Jesus Christ has prevailed and will continue to be until his return. Private jet is a matter of choice. With or without it, the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ will continue to prosper and spread all around the world. Even the quote Jesus Christ used for the triumphant entry was used once for the purpose. Whatever a man sow, that also he shall reap. The excuses of conveniences is not tenable at all to any spiritual minded persons. Travels are always planned ahead. Don't the early ministers in 60, 70, 1980s, 1990s, and even this generation that doesn't own a private jet meet up their travel obligations? What it means is that if you want to travel, there's a pre-order and pre-planned event for that. So, as Pastor W.F. Kumuyi once complained, he was unable to meet up appointments abroad because of non-availability of jets. Well, no. Is ministers of the gospel owning a private jet wrong or sinful? No, it is not wrong. But if the source of the fund is from the offerings and tithes meant to care or cater for the welfare of the church, widows, or the vulnerable, poor, strangers in the church, and also workers, and if the tithe and offering is meant for them and you use it in purchasing a private material, for example private jets, I mean, if these monies are misappropriated, then it is wrong and sinful for a minister of God or gospel to acquire a private jet through taxpayers' money, which is the tithe and offering that is meant to feed the poor and to maintain the church. Well, the gospel of God is never a private or personal thing, but a common and public figure. So, as the name connotes, private jet is really not befitting and necessary for a true minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ, but rather a public jet will do all the travels a true minister of the gospel needed to accomplish. This person has really said his own side of the story, but I want to try to be convinced a little that it shouldn't be mentioned that private jets but a public jet, because it is the taxpayers' money in the church, which is the tithe and offering, that is used to buy most of those jets, except if the pastor or the bishop or the overseer of the church has a company or a business he does apart from the church. Well, I would like you to share your comments in the comment section. Thanks for listening and God bless you.